let's dive into a really fascinating story of transformation. You know, in a world where alliances are constantly shifting, one of the biggest questions for any country is, how do you secure your own future? Well, for India, the answer is to build. We're talking about a huge, massive push to create its very own homegrown arsenal.
It really all kicks off with one simple fact. The world's power dynamics are in flux. This growing rivalry between the United States and China isn't just some headline you skim past. No, it's actually redrawing the global map, and it's forcing nations everywhere to make a tough choice between depending on others or becoming truly self-reliant. And guess who's right in the middle of this new geopolitical chessboard? India. The U.S. now sees India as an absolutely pivotal partner, a key player in its whole strategy to counterbalance China's rising influence. So yeah, the stakes could not be higher.
Which brings us to the big question, right? If you're a nation of over 1 billion people, and you're standing at this massive geopolitical crossroads, how exactly do you get ready for a future that's, well, pretty uncertain? India's answer is nothing short of a revolution in the making.
Okay, first things first, we need to understand the game board itself. Let's take a quick look at the two main players who are really driving this global shift. So on one side, you've got the United States. Its main goal is to hold on to its spot as the world's top leader. And it's doing that by forming strategic alliances to box in its rival. And on the other side, you have China, with its gigantic economy and a military that's modernizing at a breathtaking pace, aiming for what it calls a great rejuvenation by the middle of this century. This clash, this is the engine for everything else we're going to talk about.
And that brings us to India's response. Because when you're faced with this new reality, you realize you can't just be a customer in the global arms market anymore. India decided it needed its own revolution.
Now, the heart of this revolution has a name, Atmanirbhar Bharat, which basically means self-reliant India. And listen, this isn't just some catchy slogan. It's a full-blown national mission. For the defense industry, it means a huge shift from buying foreign jets, ships, and rifles to designing and building them right at home.
And the scale of the challenge was just immense. I mean, think about this. India was relying on other countries for up to 70% of its military gear. That level of dependency is a massive strategic weakness, and this new mission was designed to fix that fast.
So how in the world do you pull something like this off? Well, it's kind of like a two-pronged attack. You've got the government setting the policy and pointing the way forward. And then you have the raw industrial power, symbolized by that Make in India lion, that's actually turning all those policies into real, tangible things.
All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty of the blueprint itself. What are the actual concrete steps India is taking to build a world-class defense industry pretty much from the ground up?
It's really a multi-step game plan. First, you create these special zones. They call them defense industrial corridors to bring in investment and get all the experts in one place. Second, you make it way easier for companies to plan for the long haul by extending their licenses from just 3 years to 15. And third, you slash through all the red tape by digitizing everything to make it faster and way more efficient.
And hey, this isn't just a plan on paper. 2 of these huge industrial corridors are already up and running across 11 different cities. We're talking billions in investments have already poured in, and hundreds of agreements have been signed with companies. This is the blueprint in action, for real.
So, here's the billion-dollar question. Is it actually working? Let's look at the results. Because honestly, the numbers tell a really compelling story. Just look at this chart. It shows you the commitment in pure rupee terms. The defense budget has absolutely skyrocketed, jumping 2.6 times in a little over a decade. You can't build an industry without fuel, and this right here is the massive financial engine that's driving India's ambition.
And all that investment, it's paying off big time. Domestic defense production just shattered its record, crossing 1.27 lakh crore rupees. That's over 15 billion US dollars. This isn't just a number. It's solid proof that the local industry is growing and fast.
And you know, it's not just about making stuff for themselves anymore. India's defense exports also hit a new record, over 21,000 crore rupees. This is the crucial next step, moving from being a buyer to a builder and now to a seller. When you become a reliable supplier to other countries, it fundamentally boosts your influence on the world stage.
But what's really crucial here is the depth of it all.
This isn't just about a few giant companies. We're talking about 16,000 smaller businesses that are now plugged into the defense supply chain. This creates this incredible ripple effect, building jobs and spreading technical know-how all across the country.
And the vision for what's next is even more ambitious. The goal now is to more than double the current production value in the next 5 years. That tells you that India sees all this current success not as the finish line, but as the launching pad.
So where is all of this headed? Let's zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture, the challenges that are still out there, and what the ultimate goal really is.
You know, this quote from the Society of Indian Defense Manufacturers just nails the industry's own belief in this mission. They see themselves as the engine of this whole transformation, and they're aiming for a spot among the world's absolute top dogs in defense.
But look, the road ahead isn't perfectly smooth. There are definitely still some hurdles. The really complex process of military trials needs a fresh look. It's still tricky to verify exactly how much of a product is truly made in India. And the digital marketplace for government buying still needs some tweaks to work better for defense suppliers.
And that brings us to our final thought, right back where we started with geopolitics. As India makes this shift from being a top buyer to a major seller of military hardware, it totally changes its role in the world. So the really big question we're left with is this: how will this new power change its alliances and redefine its partnerships in the years ahead?